What if the greatest knowledge the world has ever known was hidden, scattered, and waiting to be discovered? Secrets that could change history, cure diseases, and unlock the mysteries of the stars, lost to fire, but never forgotten. Dare to follow the hidden paths of the Library of Alexandria? In the heart of Alexandria, where the sea whispered secrets against marble walls and the desert winds carried echoes of forgotten tongues, there once stood a temple not of gods, but of wisdom. It was said that within its vast chambers every question ever whispered by mankind had found an answer, written in ink upon fragile scrolls of papyrus. The Library of Alexandria was more than stone and parchment. It was a living soul, breathing knowledge, its shelves stretching like arteries of a great mind. Yet destiny, as it so often does, turned cruel. One night, fire rose against the heavens, crimson and merciless. Flames licked the sky, and the scrolls, those delicate veins of memory, curled and screamed as though alive. Witnesses swore they heard voices rising with the smoke, the cries of philosophers, of kings, of dreamers long dead, bound within the parchment, now torn away by the blaze. The harbor glowed like a forge of the gods, as if creation itself was being unmade. But among the chaos, whispers endured. Some claimed not all was lost, that in the shadows before the fire reached its peak, hooded figures moved swiftly, carrying bundles wrapped in linen, their faces hidden beneath cloaks. Where they fled, none could say. To the desert? To hidden vaults beneath temples? Or across the sea, into the hands of secret orders that would guard the wisdom for centuries? What burned was tragedy, but what escaped became mystery. For every ember that died upon the wind, a question was born. Who saved the forbidden knowledge? And where does it sleep now? Alexandria rose like a jewel upon the edge of the Mediterranean, a city where the horizon kissed both sea and sky. Its streets shimmered with mosaics that told stories older than any living memory, and markets hummed with the languages of 1,000 lands. Sailors from distant shores brought exotic spices, rare metals, and tales of kingdoms where the sun never set. Here, knowledge was currency, and the library stood as the crown jewel, a beacon for those who sought truths too perilous to whisper elsewhere. Marble statues of philosophers gazed silently from shaded courtyards, their stone eyes seeming to follow every step of scholars and scribes. Candles flickered in narrow corridors, casting long shadows upon scrolls filled with secrets of astronomy, medicine, and magic. Some scrolls claimed to describe the motions of stars that had vanished eons ago. Others spoke of medicines capable of healing the gravest wounds or extending life beyond the natural span. It was said that even the kings envied those who walked these halls, for power alone could not match the gift of knowing. But Alexandria's beauty masked danger. Rival states whispered in the shadows, their emissaries moving like serpents among the marble columns. Spies and assassins, driven by ambition and fear, sought fragments of forbidden knowledge. And yet, within the library's inner sanctum, a secret order worked tirelessly, copying, hiding, and safeguarding scrolls that could tip the balance of empires. They whispered of a prophecy, that one day, those scrolls would emerge, revealing truths that could either save or destroy the world. Every dawn over the harbor, the sunlight danced upon the waves like liquid gold, but even the brightest light could not reach the shadows where secrets waited. The city was alive with possibility, yet tinged with danger, for in Alexandria, knowledge was both a blessing and a curse, and every whisper of a scroll carried the weight of destiny itself. At the heart of Alexandria, rising above the city like a crown of eternal wisdom, stood the library itself, a temple not of marble alone, but of the minds of men and women who had dared to seek what others feared. Its grand entrance was flanked by towering statues of gods and philosophers alike, their eyes carved with a gaze that seemed almost alive, as if they judged every seeker who crossed the threshold. Within, the air was heavy with the scent of ink and papyrus, mingled with the faint perfume of oils burned for the eternal illumination of thought. Corridors stretched into infinity, lined with shelves taller than the tallest men, each stacked with scrolls that whispered secrets older than empires. Some scrolls were bound with silver and gold threads, their ink shimmering faintly as though imbued with magic. Others were locked in glass cases, enchanted with cryptic symbols to ward off the unworthy. Scholars walked the aisles in hushed awe, their fingers trembling as they traced the writings of lost civilizations, of stars mapped before the dawn of time, of medicines capable of miracles. Yet the library was more than a building. It was alive, a labyrinth of knowledge that seemed to breathe. Hidden chambers, known only to a select few, contained scrolls so dangerous that their very words were said to twist the minds of those who read them. Some spoke of lost continents, of inventions centuries ahead of their time, and of powers that could reshape the world. The keepers, a secretive order of scribes and mystics, worked tirelessly, moving through hidden passageways to copy and protect the most perilous texts. Outside, the city carried on unaware, merchants calling their wares, children playing along the harbor, and the sun casting golden fingers across the streets. But within the library's heart, destiny stirred. Every scroll, every inked letter, was a thread in a tapestry that could one day unravel the very fabric of history, or weave it anew. And as the shadows lengthened, one question lingered. Who, if anyone, would be worthy enough to uncover the secrets hidden in the Temple of Knowledge? Among the countless scrolls housed within the library, some was said to possess a power that went beyond mere words. Scrolls that could alter destinies, rewrite the course of empires, or reveal secrets of the cosmos no mortal had ever glimpsed. These were no ordinary writings. They hummed with an almost living energy, as if the knowledge itself was aware of who dared to approach. Philosophers whispered of them in secret chambers, and rulers sent emissaries under the cover of night to glimpse even a fragment, hoping to gain a leverage no army could provide. One such scroll was rumored to map the stars in a pattern lost to memory, revealing the paths of the heavens and the fate of nations. Another contained remedies that could heal the incurable, while yet another held formulas for machines that would not appear for centuries. Legends told that a single word from these scrolls could topple kingdoms or avert plagues, yet they were guarded with an almost religious fervor by the library's keepers. Only those deemed worthy, those who could prove their minds and hearts were untainted by greed, might even touch them. But temptation has a voice of its own. Spies and thieves prowled the streets of Alexandria, guided by whispers, maps, and secret letters, seeking the scrolls that could crown them kings or gods. The keepers watched silently, cloaked in shadow, prepared to vanish with the scrolls at the first hint of danger. And some say, when the night was deepest and the candles flickered, the scrolls themselves would murmur to the chosen few, hints of forgotten knowledge, riddles that led to doors no one else could see. In the library, every scroll was a portal, every written line a key. Some dared not read, for the power within could intoxicate the mind. Others risked all, believing they could master the secrets and bend fate to their will. And so the stage was set, the greatest knowledge of the ancient world, hidden, coveted, and alive, waiting for those brave, or foolish, enough to claim it. Deep within the library, beyond corridors lined with familiar scrolls and towering shelves, there existed chambers few had ever seen. These were the sanctuaries of forbidden knowledge, where words carved in forgotten tongues hinted at truths too powerful, too dangerous for ordinary minds. The keepers whispered that some scrolls were sealed not to protect the world from the ignorant, but to protect the ignorant from themselves. Legends spoke of texts that revealed the mechanics of the heavens, of stars that could be commanded, and of forces that could bend reality. There were scrolls that told of distant lands yet to be discovered, of civilizations that rose and fell in secret, leaving behind artifacts and inventions no living soul could imagine. Some contained rituals, mathematical, alchemical, or mystical, that promised insight into life, death, and the mysterious spaces in between. Only a few had glimpsed these secrets, and those who did often vanished, leaving behind tales that blurred the line between myth and memory. The corridors to these hidden chambers were treacherous. Sliding panels, false floors, and cryptic inscriptions guarded the entrance. It was said that the library itself tested those who dared enter. The walls whispered doubts, the floors threatened to swallow the unwary, and shadows danced in forms meant to unnerve and deceive. The keepers, cloaked in darkness, guided only the worthy, reading intentions in the eyes and hearts of seekers. Even kings, ambitious generals, and scholars of the highest renown were kept at bay, for the knowledge within was not a gift, but a trial. The library demanded respect, patience, and purity of mind. Those who passed the test might glimpse secrets that could change the course of history. Those who failed risked being consumed by the very knowledge they sought. And so, the greatest mysteries remained untouched, whispers among shadows, waiting for the one who could unlock them without succumbing to their peril. Beyond the gleaming halls and hidden chambers, there moved the silent guardians, an order older than Alexandria itself, sworn to protect the library's deepest secrets. Cloaked in muted shades of night, they wandered the corridors like shadows with purpose, their eyes ever watchful, their footsteps silent as whispers. No one knew from whence they came, yet their presence was felt in every flickering candle, in every rustle of parchment, and in the faint hum that seemed to rise from the very walls. The guardians were scholars, mystics, and warriors alike, trained not only in the arts of knowledge but in the craft of secrecy. Each carried a lantern that burned without flame, illuminating only what the bearer deemed necessary to see. Their hands traced invisible sigils in the air, maintaining wards and protections that could unmake intruders, guiding the worthy while ensnaring the greedy or ill-intentioned. Legends whispered that some guardians could read the thoughts of those who dared enter, discerning truth from deception with terrifying precision. Yet, their vigilance was not solely for defense. The silent guardians were curators of destiny, moving scrolls, hiding maps, and creating duplicates so cunningly disguised that even the most cunning thief would be fooled. They whispered among themselves in forgotten languages, debating which knowledge was too perilous to release, which secrets might one day save the world, and which must remain buried in shadow. Even amidst their silent duty, they felt the weight of history pressing upon them. For every empire that had risen and fallen, for every ambition quenched in blood and fire, they bore witness. And in the quiet of the library, they waited, watchers between the mortal and the divine, guardians of wisdom that could enlighten or destroy, depending upon who might claim it. The fate of civilizations rested not in the hands of kings or conquerors, but in the patient, tireless vigilance of these unseen sentinels. From distant lands and shadowed courts, empires trembled at whispers of the library's treasures. Kings and generals, though mighty in armies and wealth, feared the unseen power contained within those hallowed halls. For knowledge, unlike swords or gold, could alter the very fate of nations. A single scroll in the wrong hands could topple thrones, ignite wars, or unlock mysteries that even the gods might envy. Envoys arrived under veils of diplomacy, offering gifts and alliances, yet concealing daggers in both hand and heart. Spies moved like phantoms through the bustling markets, listening for rumors, tracing secret marks left by scholars, or decoding cryptic maps smuggled from the library's hidden chambers. Some claimed they had glimpsed forbidden texts in fleeting moments, only to vanish without trace, their lives swallowed by the very knowledge they sought. Amidst this looming threat, the silent guardians worked tirelessly, moving scrolls through hidden passages and creating elaborate dickers to mislead the covetous. They whispered of ancient pacts, of oaths sworn to preserve the wisdom from the grasp of tyrants and conquerors. Legends spoke of a council of sages who convened in secret, weighing the consequences of revealing even the smallest fragment of the library's treasures. Despite the chaos outside, Alexandria shimmered in defiance, a city of light amidst shadows of ambition. Its streets remained vibrant, markets bustling, and scholars debating under the sun, yet beneath the surface, the pulse of fear ran deep. Every empire that sought to bend the library to its will underestimated the labyrinthine defenses and the unseen eyes that watched. For in the world of knowledge, power was subtle, cunning, and eternal, and Alexandria's greatest secret was that no army could claim what had been safeguarded by those who understood its true weight. It began subtly, almost imperceptibly, as a flicker in the distance, a trembling of light against the marble columns. Some called it a stray torch, others whispered of the anger of gods, displeased by mortals daring to hold all knowledge in their hands. The library, grand and eternal in its majesty, trembled as the first touch of fire licked the edges of its sacred halls. Smoke curled like serpents through the corridors, carrying with it the scent of charred papyrus and ink, a perfume of both loss and warning. Scholars scrambled, clutching precious scrolls, their faces pale in the glow of approaching flames. The silent guardians moved with purposeful grace, forming protective circles around the most valuable texts. Yet even their discipline could not wholly contain the chaos. The heat grew, walls groaned, and the sound of collapsing beams mingled with the desperate cries of those within. Each scroll that succumbed to flame seemed to release a sigh of lament, as though the knowledge itself mourned its own destruction. Outside, the city watched in terror. Sailors on the harbor pointed to the smoke that darkened the sky, while merchants abandoned their stalls, fearing that the fire might leap from the library to the streets. Rumors spread like wildfire that the heart of Alexandria, the beacon of wisdom for the known world, was burning, that centuries of learning were vanishing in smoke and ash. And yet, even in this hour of terror, shadows moved. Hooded figures slipped through secret passages, carrying bundles of sacred scrolls, their identities hidden, their purpose unclear, leaving the fate of some knowledge uncertain, but preserved. By nightfall, the blaze had claimed great portions of the library. Yet the whispers persisted. Some scrolls had escaped, taken by those who understood that knowledge, once lost, could never be regained. And from the depths of smoke and ruin, a question hung in the air, unspoken but heavy with destiny. What was lost forever, and what still waited, hidden, for the day it might return? Among the chaos of flame and smoke, a few shadows moved with purpose, undetected by the panicked masses. These were the chosen few, the keepers, scholars, and secretive mystics, whose duty transcended fear and fire. They carried bundles of scrolls wrapped in linen, cradling fragile knowledge as one would a newborn, whispering words of reassurance to texts older than empires. Each step was a careful negotiation with the inferno, each breath a prayer that destiny would favor their mission. Legends claim that some carried entire collections to hidden vaults beneath temples, others loaded fragile papyrus onto small boats bound for distant shores. The harbor, once bustling with trade, became a silent witness to this secret exodus, as small vessels slipped quietly into the night, bearing fragments of the library's soul. No one could follow, for the night cloaked them, and even the wind seemed to conspire in their concealment. Among the guardians, a silent code prevailed. Only those worthy of bearing the knowledge were entrusted with it, and only those who could endure the burden without succumbing to greed would survive. Some would never see Alexandria again, wandering into lands unknown, their names erased from memory but their purpose eternally etched in history. Each scroll saved was a spark against oblivion, a promise that wisdom, though threatened, could endure. And so, even as the flames consumed walls and shelves, whispers of salvation spread. The library's legacy was no longer bound by stone or mortar. It had taken flight, scattered across deserts, seas, and hidden enclaves, awaiting the day when seekers brave enough would uncover it. For every scroll that escaped, a story endured, a secret preserved, and a hope remained, that knowledge, once thought lost, might one day illuminate the world again. Beneath the city's bustling streets and the shattered remnants of marble halls, secret paths wove like veins through the earth. These were no ordinary corridors. They were ancient, concealed by design and magic, known only to the silent guardians and their most trusted allies. Carved from stone and reinforced with knowledge older than the library itself, the passages allowed those who dared enter to vanish into the shadows, leaving neither trace nor sound. Scrolls were carried along these hidden veins, wrapped in protective cloth and sealed with sigils meant to guard against prying eyes. Some led to subterranean vaults beneath forgotten temples, where underground rivers whispered secrets to those who listened. Others opened to hidden harbors, where ships waited silently under moonlight, ready to carry the knowledge across seas that had yet to be mapped. Every step was deliberate, every turn, a choice that could mean the difference between salvation and destruction. Legends tell of labyrinths so intricate that even the most cunning intruders would lose their way, trapped in darkness and echoes. Guardians would mark passages with subtle symbols, signs that only the worthy could read, ensuring that only those of pure intention could navigate the network. Some paths were said to be enchanted, responding to the minds of travelers. A scholar's curiosity might unlock a door, while a greedy heart would find only dead ends. Through these hidden paths, fragments of the library journeyed far beyond Alexandria. What was once concentrated in a single, shining city became scattered across empires, deserts, and distant lands. The knowledge, though fragmented, carried with it a legacy of hope and mystery, waiting for the one who could piece together its riddles. And so, even in exile, the library lived on, not in walls, but in the quiet, secretive movement of those who understood that true wisdom could never be destroyed, only hidden until the world was ready to receive it. As centuries passed, the library's fragments did not vanish into obscurity. They found new custodians. These were the guardians of the secret, brotherhoods and orders scattered across lands, bound by oaths older than kingdoms. Some hid in deserts beneath the shifting sands, others in monasteries carved into cliffs, and a few in cities where scholars still whispered of Alexandria's lost wisdom. Each guardian pledged silence, protecting the scrolls from greed, ignorance, and those who would wield knowledge as a weapon rather than a light. The guardians were scholars, warriors, and mystics in equal measure, trained to read not only the words on the scrolls but the hidden intentions of those who approached them. Initiation was perilous. One misstep, one faltering heart, and the knowledge could reject the seeker, vanishing as if never there. Some guardians devoted lifetimes to mastering the texts, deciphering lost languages, reconstructing maps, and uncovering patterns that revealed secrets of the stars, medicine, and machines centuries ahead of their time. Legends tell of the guardians moving scrolls under cover of storms, crossing deserts on silent camels or gliding down hidden rivers, carrying wisdom from one sanctuary to another. They were the invisible pulse of history, ensuring that the flame of Alexandria never truly died. Occasionally, whispers speak of guardians confronting kings, sultans, or invaders, defending knowledge with a courage unmatched by armies, reminding the world that true power lay not in conquest but in understanding. Through their tireless vigilance, fragments of the library survived countless upheavals, fires, wars, and betrayals. And even today, it is said, some guardians still watch in silence, their identities hidden, their purpose unwavering. The secret endures, a living legacy, waiting for those who are worthy to uncover the threads of wisdom scattered across time and space, echoing the eternal heartbeat of Alexandria itself. Among the most coveted scrolls preserved by the Guardians were those that charted the heavens, mapping stars, planets, and constellations with a precision that seemed impossible for their time. These were not mere observations. They were instructions, riddles, and prophecies encoded in celestial patterns. It was said that a single misread line could send an explorer astray or foretell events centuries before they unfolded. The library had catalogued not only what was seen but what could be, the movements of distant worlds and the hidden forces that guided destiny. Scholars who dared study these scrolls spoke of star charts that hinted at lands yet undiscovered and energies waiting to be harnessed. Others whispered of astral alignments that could reveal truths about life, death, and the cycles of civilizations. Guardians treated these scrolls with reverence, for even a fleeting glance by the unprepared could drive the mind to madness, unraveling its perception of reality. Only the patient, the disciplined, and the worthy could unlock their secrets without being consumed by their scope. These star scrolls were often transported under the cover of night, hidden in caravans or small ships, guided by navigators who had been trained to read both the stars and the hidden signs left by the Guardians. Across deserts and oceans, fragments of this knowledge spread, influencing explorers, astronomers, and secret orders for generations. Legends tell of certain constellations that could only be understood with these scrolls, and that those who held their secrets could bend tides, predict disasters, or chart paths through realms unknown. Even as empires rose and fell, the wisdom of the stars endured, a quiet testament to Alexandria's brilliance. The Guardians ensured that the celestial maps remained a bridge between past and future, mystery and revelation. And so, when one gazes at the night sky, shimmering above distant lands, one might glimpse the shadows of knowledge carried from a city lost to fire but preserved by those who understood that the universe itself could be read, if only one knew how to look. Among the treasures saved from Alexandria, some scrolls contained knowledge that could rival the work of gods, the art of healing. These were no ordinary remedies, no common herbs or simple concoctions. They were cures thought lost to time, formulas and rituals capable of mending wounds, curing plagues, and restoring vitality in ways that seemed miraculous. It was said that some could even prolong life, weaving vitality into the body like threads in a tapestry. The Guardians guarded these texts with particular care. Knowledge of healing was power, but in the wrong hands, it could become a tool of tyranny. Kings and conquerors had long sought such secrets, hoping to turn soldiers into invincible armies or to manipulate the balance of life and death itself. Yet the scrolls were hidden away, transported through deserts, rivers, and forests, carried by those who understood that true healing came not just from herbs and potions but from wisdom, patience, and the sanctity of intention. Stories tell of scholars studying the texts under candlelight, replicating formulas in secret labs, or experimenting in hidden sanctuaries where nature and science intertwined. Some scrolls contained guidance on rare minerals, plants that grew only under certain celestial alignments, and techniques to restore broken bones, soothe fever, or cleanse the body of ailments thought incurable. Others contained philosophical insights, revealing that healing was as much a matter of spirit as of flesh, and that knowledge alone without understanding could harm rather than help. Through centuries, fragments of this knowledge influenced civilizations quietly. Healers, unaware of the full source, applied it with astonishing results, changing the course of epidemics and saving countless lives. The legacy of Alexandria's medical scrolls endured, a quiet echo of wisdom that transcended borders and time, reminding the world that knowledge, when guided by care and compassion, could be the most powerful force of all. Among the scrolls smuggled from Alexandria, some contained designs so intricate, so precise, that they seemed to whisper of knowledge far beyond the ages. These were the blueprints of eternity, plans for monuments, temples, and cities lost to memory, whose structures reflected the secrets of mathematics, astronomy, and cosmic harmony. It was said that those who understood these designs could build not merely with stone, but with the forces of the universe itself. The scrolls spoke of pyramids aligned with the stars, temples that resonated with celestial frequencies, and hidden chambers that held untold mysteries. Some contained instructions for machinery and devices that would not appear for centuries, inventions so advanced that they seemed magical to all who lacked the insight to comprehend them. Scholars whispered that these designs were more than architecture. They were maps of the human spirit, encoded in angles and proportions, intended to endure across time. The guardians transported these fragile treasures with utmost care, concealing them beneath deserts, in caves, and in vaults beneath sacred temples. They debated which knowledge could safely be revealed, and which could corrupt those not ready to wield it responsibly. Only the worthy, those whose minds balanced curiosity with humility, were ever allowed to study these blueprints. Even then, the texts demanded understanding, for their power was not in the stone but in the comprehension of cosmic order they contained. Legends claim that fragments of these designs inspired civilizations, shaping monuments, cities, and sacred spaces that endure even today. Yet much remained hidden, waiting for a mind capable of deciphering the full magnitude of Alexandria's legacy. The blueprints of eternity were not merely architectural. They were a testament to humanity's potential, a silent promise that the lost wisdom of the library could one day guide those who sought to understand the universe itself. Not all wisdom brought enlightenment. Some scrolls carried a weight far heavier than any mortal mind could bear. Legends whispered of a curse woven into certain texts, warnings etched in invisible ink or hidden in riddles, meant to punish those who sought understanding with impure hearts. It was said that scholars who gazed too long upon forbidden knowledge sometimes vanished, their minds unraveling, leaving behind only echoes of their curiosity. These cursed scrolls contained secrets of unimaginable power, rituals that could alter life and death, formulas to command natural forces, and truths that challenged the very fabric of reality. The library's guardians treated such texts with reverence and fear, sealing them in hidden chambers, reinforcing wards, and sometimes choosing to destroy copies rather than risk their misuse. Even the bravest of the initiated approached with trepidation, knowing that curiosity alone was not enough. One's intention, discipline, and humility were as essential as intellect. Tales spread across empires of ambitious kings, explorers, and philosophers who sought these dangerous scrolls. Some were found wandering deserts, speaking in riddles, forever changed by the knowledge they had glimpsed. Others died quietly in remote sanctuaries, haunted by visions of distant worlds, lost civilizations, or machines beyond comprehension. Yet despite the peril, whispers persisted that the knowledge was too valuable to be lost, its power too great to ignore. And so, the curse became part of the legend. Knowledge was both gift and burden, illumination and shadow. Every scroll saved from Alexandria carried the promise of discovery, but also the risk of madness. The library's legacy endured not merely as a repository of facts, but as a test of character, a reminder that the greatest wisdom often comes with the gravest of consequences. Long after the Library of Alexandria fell, whispers of its surviving scrolls ignited desire in secret orders and shadowed societies. Across continents and centuries, these groups, Templars, mystics, and clandestine fraternities, pursued fragments of knowledge with relentless fervor. Their goal was not merely power, but dominion over the hidden truths that could alter the course of empires, bend the natural world, or unlock forces no mortal should command. The hunt was perilous, spanning deserts, forests, and oceans. Couriers carried coded messages, and spies slipped through cities under the cover of darkness. Many orders kept meticulous records of scrolls' movements, tracing the hands of guardians and the paths of secret caravans. Some employed cryptic maps, symbols only decipherable to the initiated, and others claimed mystical guidance, omens, visions, or whispers of the library itself steering them toward its lost treasures. Yet for every order that sought the scrolls, the guardians countered with equal cunning. Hidden sanctuaries, shifting labyrinths, and secret passages thwarted pursuers at every turn. Legends speak of confrontations in shadowed monasteries, of traps that dissolved pursuers into illusions, and of duels waged not only with steel but with knowledge itself. The balance between seeker and protector was delicate, and misstep could bring ruin, madness, or death. Despite the danger, the allure of Alexandria's wisdom persisted. Each recovered fragment carried immense influence, inspiring revolutions, guiding scholars, or concealing truths from the world. The hunt, relentless and secretive, ensured that the library's legacy endured not only in memory but in action, shaping history through shadows. The question remained, whispered across centuries: who among mortals could be trusted with such power, and who would succumb to its temptation first? Beneath the golden deserts of Egypt, where the sun scorched the earth and winds carved the dunes like sculptors of eternity, lay hidden passages and catacombs that few mortals had ever seen. Legends claimed that fragments of Alexandria's lost knowledge were secreted away in these subterranean labyrinths, guarded not by walls of stone alone, but by traps, enchantments, and the vigilance of the silent guardians. The catacombs stretched for miles beneath ancient temples, shifting as if alive, their corridors twisting and splitting into infinite paths. Some passages were flooded by subterranean rivers, others choked with sand, collapsing if one stepped without the proper incantation or sigil. It was whispered that the sands themselves could remember, moving to obscure the entrances or guiding those deemed worthy toward concealed chambers. Seekers came and vanished, leaving behind only whispers and footprints swallowed by time. Secret orders sent envoys with maps of hidden symbols, while rogue scholars dared tunnels armed with torchlight and courage, hoping to glimpse the scrolls that might grant them dominion over life, death, or the stars themselves. Yet the guardians of these underground sanctuaries watched silently, shadows in the dark, ready to intervene if a seeker's heart bore greed or impure intent. Among the tunnels, scrolls rested in alcoves carved from bedrock, wrapped in protective linen, waiting for the day they might illuminate the world again. Some bore inscriptions that glowed faintly in the torchlight, secrets encoded to challenge the mind and spirit. To enter was to risk not only one's life but sanity itself. And so, beneath the endless dunes, Alexandria's legacy slumbered, hidden, alive, and eternal, waiting for those brave enough to seek it and wise enough to wield it without succumbing to its peril. Though Alexandria had fallen, fragments of its wisdom found refuge far beyond Egypt's shores. Caravans crossed deserts, ships braved stormy seas, and secret emissaries carried scrolls to distant lands, placing them in the hands of scholars, rulers, and clandestine orders who would guard them for generations. Baghdad, Constantinople, and even the secret vaults of the Vatican became unwitting custodians of knowledge that could have reshaped the world. In the libraries of the Abbasid Caliphate, scholars pored over ancient texts, translating, copying, and preserving them. Mathematics, astronomy, and medicine from the Library of Alexandria influenced discoveries centuries ahead of European understanding. Constantinople's imperial collections hid scrolls beneath marble floors and behind gilded walls, accessible only to the initiated, while monks in European monasteries secretly catalogued fragments, embedding the wisdom in codices and illuminated manuscripts. But these treasures were never safe. Wars, invasions, and political intrigue constantly threatened the fragile threads of continuity. Secret orders, aware of the scroll's power, sought to acquire or destroy them. Each transfer, each journey, carried risk, yet the knowledge survived, traveling in whispers, encoded messages, and hidden compartments, a shadowy web linking continents across time. Legends suggest that even today, some fragments lie undisturbed, misfiled or concealed, waiting for seekers who can decipher the coded marks of the guardians. In foreign libraries, the Library of Alexandria lives on, not as a single edifice, but as a dispersed, hidden network of wisdom, awaiting those bold enough to rediscover its secrets. It is a legacy that transcends borders, a testament to the enduring power of knowledge and the eternal struggle to protect it from those who would wield it for conquest rather than enlightenment. Imagine a world where Alexandria's library had endured, not as ruins, but intact, a beacon of infinite wisdom. Empires might have risen guided by knowledge rather than conquest, wars averted through understanding, and plagues cured by secrets preserved for posterity. The scrolls contain the collective memory of humanity, a map of the stars, the secrets of medicine, mathematics, and mechanics, and philosophies that could have shaped minds for millennia. Scholars speculate about inventions centuries ahead of their time: machines to traverse oceans with ease, devices to harness energy, cures for diseases that would later decimate populations. Maps might have revealed lands yet undiscovered, insights into civilizations lost before history began recording them. Leaders guided by these truths could have forged alliances, prevented disasters, and nurtured cultures that valued wisdom over power. Yet the library's destruction, though tragic, became a crucible. Its fragments scattered, hidden by guardians and secret orders, preserving sparks of its brilliance for those worthy and patient enough to find them. Perhaps this scattering ensured that knowledge, while delayed, endured beyond the reach of tyrants and greed. The question remains eternal: had Alexandria survived in full, would humanity have wielded its wisdom responsibly, or would power have corrupted it, as it often does? The vision of a world shaped by complete knowledge remains a legend, inspiring seekers to this day. It reminds us that the pursuit of wisdom is never without peril, but also never without hope. Even in fragments, the library's legacy whispers through time, urging us to seek, to learn, and to honor the knowledge that has survived against all odds. Though the Library of Alexandria was lost to fire, the echoes of its wisdom never truly vanished. Across deserts, seas, and continents, fragments of its knowledge endured, safeguarded by guardians, secret orders, and devoted scholars who understood that wisdom was the most precious treasure of all. Scrolls, maps, and codices traveled hidden paths, leaving faint traces in monasteries, temples, and foreign libraries, each fragment a beacon to those brave enough to seek it. Legends tell of seekers who uncovered these pieces, deciphering riddles left by the guardians, piecing together insights that could illuminate the stars, heal the sick, or reveal truths about the world unseen by ordinary eyes. Even in secrecy, the library's spirit breathed life into discoveries, inspiring minds and shaping civilizations in ways subtle yet profound. The knowledge that survived was more than information. It was a promise, a reminder that the pursuit of truth carries both risk and reward. Today, the library exists not as stone and scrolls alone, but as a legacy in hearts, minds, and whispered stories. Every scholar, explorer, and dreamer who chases mysteries left by history carries a spark of Alexandria's brilliance. The fire that once consumed it could not destroy its essence. Its lessons endure. Knowledge is power, but only when tempered by humility. Wisdom is eternal, but only when sought with courage. And the greatest discoveries await those who dare to follow the hidden paths. And so, as shadows lengthen and the world spins on, the library lives, not in ruins, but in every seeker who dares to uncover what was lost, in every secret preserved, and in every mind illuminated by the eternal flame of curiosity. Alexandria's spirit remains, whispering across time. Seek, learn, protect, and perhaps, one day, the hidden wisdom will guide the world once more.